it is useful to us to look at the world and to see in it things that accord with, support the beliefs that we already hold, because that helps to keep the group together, and if that group fractures, we die.
I got really interested in confirmation bias, which I initially thought the show was going to be about, and it is, in a way. But confirmation bias is this tendency that we all have to look at the world and only see the things that support what we already believe. And I thought that was fascinating, because as soon as you know about that, as soon as that is named for you, you can see it in yourself. When you're looking out of a window at a street, you can see it in the arguments you have with the people closest to you. You can see it in the way you read books or consume any media. And everything really has an element of it.
So we like to believe that there can be a genuine debate, and our unconscious confirmation bias, it gets in the way of that. It actually convinces us that what we see is the whole picture, that we are righter than we actually are, and it drives us and the people that we might disagree with further apart.
So I thought a useful way to examine how that works in myself, because it's very difficult to look at your own mind with your mind, a useful way was to go and find someone who believed very different things to me, but whose underlying information processing was probably the same, because they are a human being like me, but also I thought they're from my socio-economic background if I found the right person. They're of my ethnicity and nationality, because then the audience have a complicated view of two people who look the same in their heads, and someone who is very different to me politically or morally.
And I did find someone to speak to, someone intelligent, and it did happen to be a guy who runs a fairly popular white supremacist website.
Obviously, their politics, their moral view of the world, their biological view of the world, because their politics are a lot around race and what that says about human value. Their politics are very different to mine. But their thinking structures and their information processing and the cognitive biases that they are using to create that worldview are very similar. And that's when it veers off into something that's much more disturbing than a simple examination of a cognitive bias that we all share.
And it just became obvious, you know, that it isn't racist to say that we are incompatible and that there is an elite who run the world. Like, we are all in danger of becoming these drones, servicing systems that aren't ultimately for our benefit. You know, we are educated to serve, not to inquire or to enjoy life. And the pathetic thing is, we go along with that.
The show is, you know, it's written by me, but it's very clearly developed with and directed by Rachel Chavkin from Team, who are based in New York. And it wouldn't be the show that it is without both of us working on it. And one of the things that she's really clear about is the idea that this experience, which is a real experience for me, has to be lived. And it doesn't just have to be, it's not a narrative account of my experience, so it's not me living my personal journey through it, it's me living every moment of it, even when I'm putting myself in the position of the person that I was talking to and what they think. So I think one of the most interesting positions that it puts an audience in is that there is an ambiguity at points about who is speaking.
There is only so much understanding in the world. And if I am wasting that, making me more tolerant of you, maybe I don't want it.
And it's about much more than explaining confirmation bias or examining a political viewpoint I don't agree with. It's about how that disagreement and these inherent biases intersect with my lived day-to-day experience and the lived day-to-day experience of the audience, and about how when you start to look at that, it can really destabilize who you think you are.